My ex Rose, and I have a son, Jason. He is 15 years old. We broke up when Jason was 5. Rose has Jason on weekends. Rose married her now husband when Jason was 10. Her husband has 2 children, they are 17 and 16 and live full-time with them. Jason has a few chores when he's with them and easily takes care of them, while his step-siblings don't do theirs and Rose take care of them. This has been the only point of contention between our son and her. He has talked with her and even went to therapy. It was when Jason was 12 when we switched days. We stayed like that for a year and a half, but since things never really got better, we went back to our initial agreement. The situation is still the same, and a year ago Jason came to me complaining about it. I had run out of things to say to him when it comes to this subject, so I threw almost the same pep talk my old man said to me when I was about the same age as him. I told him that I understand that it sucks. While they can't do anything, you can do everything. You can cook, clean, do well in school, drive, handle your own money, and you even know how to handle the bills, and I'm not counting the things you've learned from your grandparents and your uncle. I can send you to live alone right now like my old man did with me, an inside joke. And I wouldn't worry, because even if you don't know how to do them, you take the time to learn. You are already ahead of many kids your age, even ahead of some adults. Do your part, and as long as she doesn't make you do their chores, let your mother take care of it. Just focus on spending time with her the way you've been doing so far. The world is going to hit your step-siblings hard one day. Jason took it well, and things have been going well until yesterday. He went out with his mother, and when they returned, they found their house a complete mess. I don't know what they did, but it was bad enough that Rose snapped and finally forced them to clean the house. The kids tried to get Jason to help them because they were struggling, but he refused, claiming it wasn't his mess. They kept nagging him, and Jason told them that I was right. They are really useless. His mother asked him if I really said that. He said I didn't, but it can be summed like that. He called me at night telling me that he probably got me in trouble and explained the situation. Rose with her husband came today about what I said. I told them that I never called them useless and explained what I said. But useless never leave their minds, and told me I'm an asshole and to stay out of their business. Rose and her husband comments were more about her kids, who I don't care, but when it comes to my son, of course I will. Jason wasn't standing there looking smug and calling them useless. He was in his room minding his business. The constant nagging and his mother's inability to stop them make him snap. That's when he called them useless. He knows he should ignore them or be more tactful, but I get it. His patience has limits just like everyone else. He apologized to his step-siblings before he came back to my house yesterday. He also apologized to me for kinda throwing me under the bus, but I told him it was unnecessary, everything cool between us. Why did he keep going to his mother? He wanted. Last year he was on the fence about going back, but after our talk, he finally accepted that his mother wasn't going to change, and he decided to work around that because he still wanted a relationship with her. Their relationship actually got better, but after what happened, their relationship is going to change. We have to wait if it is for better or for worse. Him and I talked, and he's still thinking about what to do, but he says that he'll probably do what he had planned last year. He will spend time with her but will not go to her house anymore. He's taking a few days to let things settle down, and then he'll let his mother know. She is not going to like it, but alas, she's not in a position to demand or ask. I met this guy in January, and he became my boyfriend in February. Comes March, the world goes down the drain, and we decided to move in together for the time of the pandemic. A few weeks ago, he shows me a post where this guy is challenged to an arm wrestling competition by his GF. The guy didn't seem to have any sort of training / workout, whereas his girlfriend did. I commented he might have a surprise. My boyfriend started educating me on biology and how men are stronger than women. I told him there were way too many factors to take into consideration to make such a broad comment. I have been doing weightlifting for 2 years, and my boyfriend has never seen a gym in his life, so I used us as an example. That was a big mistake. He got really defensive and condescending, and made comments like, "That's cute." I just let it go. Fast forward to yesterday. He's playing some game with his friend, online, and I can clearly hear him talk about me. Well, curiosity killed the cat. At first it's all pretty and my ego is bursting, but then he says I'm delusional because I think I'm stronger than him. Pause. Seriously? I know I'm weak, but not weaker than a girl. So later, I decide to call him on his BS. I asked him if he wanted to come work out with me the next day, this morning, so he can show me how strong he is. He accepted, and I was happy because I had been dying to bring him and initiate him to something I'm passionate about. So, this morning, we went to my friend's garage. My region allows groups of 10 or less, and we wipe everything. I told him we're gonna do deadlifts. It's my favorite exercise, and I was already planning to test my personal best, so it was perfect. My friend was there cause he corrects my form, and it's been our Sunday ritual since COVID-19. We started light and slowly worked our way up, doing the same number of reps as the other. Comes 185, his form starts to crumble, so we made him go lighter. But 185 really isn't that much for me, so I kept stacking the plates. He looked very supportive and impressed the whole time. I ended up beating my personal best at 265. I was ecstatic, and so were they. When we got in the car, he was very silent. I assumed he was just tired. We got home, and that's when he exploded and asked me if I was proud of myself. Apparently, I humiliated him in front of my friend. I apologized. I didn't realize he was feeling that way. He got angry and said it really changed the way he saw me, like I'm less of a woman now. He stormed to the basement. I started collecting my things. But now I'm wondering if I should have been reading between the lines and stopped at 190 or something. Or just dropped it and never suggested we work out together. I knew very well I was stronger than him, but I just had to prove it to him. My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years now. Every year at the end of summer, my boyfriend's family has a beach trip. They have a cute cottage that they go to visit a few times a year. Last year I was unable to join, but this year I was able to make it. I've met his family before many times and we get along well, so I was looking forward to it. While I was packing, I was sure to include nicer dresses in case we went out, and even included a more modest bikini than I would usually wear. This one is still a bikini, but is full coverage unlike my others. I know his family can be a little more conservative, so I kept that in mind when packing. I even went over everything I packed with my boyfriend. On the trip was my BF and I, his younger brother, his older brother, his sister-in-law, and his parents. The first day went by really well. Our flight didn't have any issues. We unpacked, got settled, and all went out for dinner. The next day we had planned to go out on the boat. So I put on my bikini and had to cover up. No one said anything to me as we were leaving, or even when we were on the boat. I spent the whole day in my bikini without a single comment. It wasn't until that night I realized people had an issue with it. We were all drinking on the boat, with the exception of my BFS sister-in-law because she's pregnant. And we continued drinking when we got back. So after dinner, we were all pretty wasted. When we were talking about our time on the boat, my BFS dad made a comment about how everyone was staring at me because of my slutty bikini. I was embarrassed and just laughed it off, but then everyone else chimed in to comment on it. His mom laughed and said it was fine, that she would wear nothing if she were young again. But then his younger brother said that I basically was wearing nothing. I defended myself and said it was the most conservative suit I had. And then his older brother said that it didn't leave anything to the imagination. And that if he were single, he would have tried to steal me away. That comment made me pretty uncomfortable, and I could tell it made his wife uncomfortable too. I asked if she would wear bikinis on the trip, and my BFS dad interrupted and said that she did, but it was different. My BF just laughed along with all of this, didn't even see anything wrong with it. When I told him to say something, he said that I did look like I was trying to get dick down. Well, that comment was the last straw. I went to our room. I wanted to leave early after all that. But we only had a few days, so I just pushed it in the back of my mind and kept to myself the rest of our trip. I know they were just joking, but what they said really bothered me and made me feel uncomfortable. I'm not sure why my BF doesn't get that. He just keeps saying that they were joking around. But it obviously wasn't very funny to me, so now he's saying I ruined the trip by moping around the rest of the time. I am currently divorced from my ex Thomas of 30 years. We ended up seeing a lawyer to help with dividing stuff. Everything was pretty much wrapped up till he said he no longer wanted any part of our kids' lives. I didn't argue with him about it since I already know what it's like having a parent who doesn't want you around, or wants to be in your life. I asked what he wanted me to tell the kids and he just said, "Whatever you think is best, I don't care. I don't want to parent anymore." Everything was in agreement and signed with no fuss. A few weeks later I get a call from my ex-mill asking if we could meet each other. When I came over she broke down crying and begging to let my ex see his kids again. I was confused about what she meant because not once did he contact me after meeting the lawyer. She went on about how my ex said he really missed them and that I was just a petty B*TCH for taking full custody. Also that he was crying for days about it. I told her my version of events and she called it BS, saying her son wouldn't lie like that, especially not about his kids. Then I decided to call him in front of her. He didn't know she and I were meeting that day. I said, "Hey, has a soccer game in a few days," which he did, and I was wondering if you wanted to go? I know he'd really love it and be happy to see you. He instantly said no. I already said I'm not doing this anymore. I asked, "Well, how do you think this is going to affect Denise, his mom?" She is over the moon about them. He just said she loves me more than the kids, so I doubt this will be an issue for her. After a bit more talking we finally hung up. Ex-Mill was straight-faced and nodded at everything that just happened. She asked me to leave and said we would be in touch. Later that day I got a call from my ex saying how it's my fault he was kicked out of his mom's house, and possibly will be taken off her will. Also that none of his family members will talk to him because of what ex-Mill heard. He threw a lot of insults at me before I hung up, and now him and his mates keep calling and texting me. My friend is saying I shouldn't have said anything in the first place and I ruined his life. Yes, I plan to let Denise see the kids because I know she just wants to give them the world along with the rest of his family.